it's my absolute pleasure to welcome onto the screens now Stephen and David Flynn, who are from Happy Pear, to discuss how reducing our meat consumption and introducing a plant-based diet is going to help our global health. Gentlemen, it's a pleasure to meet you. We hope you're well. Take it away.
Delighted to be here. Yeah, real pleasure to be here, and thanks a million for your time. We're Dave and Steve from the Happy Pair, identical twins, as you may or may not have noticed.
This one's called
David.
And I'm Stephen.
Yeah, so pleasure to be here. And really, just to give a bit of context, you might go, who are these two lads and what do they know about reducing my meat consumption?
And why should I listen to them?
Okay, well, roll back a few centuries ago. Now, roll back 20 years ago, we were, by the time we finished school, we were semi-pro athletes. We were both playing off scratch and golf. We were playing semi-pro rugby. We ended up studying business. And when you study business, you're fed the idea that if you make loads of money, then you're going to be happy. And being competitive identical twins, we really bought into this. And I guess finishing university, we both realized that there must have been more to life. You know, money, there has to be more than money.
So you went away traveling, exploring anything different in life. And we found out that diet was a real connecting point as to how you connect to the earth, how it affects your health, how it affects the environmental health. And as a result, we changed our diet from a traditional meat and veg diet to a whole food, plant-based diet. And we changed it to such a degree that we felt so much better about ourselves that we wanted to start a business to use it as a vehicle for social change. So we started with a fruit and veg shop in 2004 and with a dream of creating a happier, healthier world. And it's gone from starting with a little vegetable shop to where now we've got, farms, a couple of farms. We have 70 food products, all plant-based vegan food products in 1,000 stores in Ireland. We have an app where we partner with doctors and dietitians and urologists and gynecologists to really validate the basic principles of eating more plant-based foods and the massive benefits of it. And we're chefs. We've written 6 best-selling cookbooks.
And we have cafes. So a lot of things anyways. So that's really just about a backstory of us. But we really want to talk to you guys today and inspire you about reducing your meat consumption. And really, I think it's less about reducing. It's more about crowding it out with the healthier choices. And we're going to try to motivate you. So Stephen, what should I do to reduce my meat consumption?
Okay, number one, it's not an all or nothing thing. Many people think you eat a piece of chicken and you're off the team. It's not like that at all. It's about just baby steps and just moving the dial slowly. So it's rather than say you're having a chicken curry, put some chickpeas in it. It's adding more of the good stuff in, because many people don't realize, many people think fiber is purely to go to the toilet, but fiber is actually a superfood, and it's something that most people in the Western world do not get enough of. In Ireland and the UK, typically 8 out of 10 people don't get their recommended daily intake of fiber. So recommended daily allowance is typically 30 grams per day. In the UK and Ireland, it's approximately between 15 and 20
What about
grams.
the US?
The US would be even less. So and fiber you only get in fruit, veg, beans, legumes, nuts and seeds, and whole grains. So you do not get fiber in any animal food, and you barely get any refined foods.
So really, number one is benefit of eating more plant-based foods is you're going to get more fiber. Another thing I want to tell you.
What are the benefits of fiber? Give me a few ideas.
So fiber is you may have heard of your microbiome, which is a collection of organisms, microbacteria. You've got yeast, fungi, archaea, a collection of microorganisms in your gut. You've got about 2 kg of bacteria there. And really, they are like the control center of human biology. And what actually feeds the healthy strains of bacteria in your gut is actually fiber. And as Stephen said, you only get fiber in plant-based foods. No animal-based foods do it. And that's where 70% of your immune system cells are based. That's where a lot of your serotonin, your happy hormone, is made in your gut. And your gut is like, fiber is what fuels your gut. It really is. Even there was a link between the SMILE study, which was done in New Zealand, which found a direct correlation between eating more fiber-rich foods and having better mental health in terms of minimizing people's levels of depression. So fiber is really, really important.
So point number one, try to eat more fiber. And if you're someone that doesn't like vegetables, even just start with fruit. And if you can eat fruit that's in season, right now in the Northern Hemisphere, it's apples, it's pear season, and they're delicious. And if you find a variety that you like, they're magnificent. Focus with fruit as a nice starting point and slowly bring in different foods that you like.
Number two is it's not an all or nothing type thing. Like a great mantra which we live by is progress rather than perfection. So wherever you're starting at, take baby steps in the right direction. If you look at nowadays in the Western world, whether that's Europe, America, Ireland, England, most of the developed countries within the world, 50% of calories on average that we're eating are ultra-processed foods. So we eat a huge amount of processed foods. And when you look at the blue zones, which the blue zones are the 5 areas in the world where there's the most amount of centenarians. So
What's
that's
a centenarian?
Centenarian, Stephen. Great question. It's actually someone who lived over the age of 100. So this was a big study done by National Geographic and Dan Buettner. And they wanted to find where do the longest living people live in the planet. And they found a place in Icaria in Greece, a place in Okinawa in Japan, a place in Sardinia in Italy, a place in Costa Rica, and a place in California in Loma Linda, where there was the most amount of centenarians. And they went in and said, oh my God, these people live such long, happy lives. How do they live such long lives? And obviously food was, they kind of go, well, what do they eat? Do they just eat goji berries?
They must just eat something special.
Yeah, what is it? And they found that it was really, what they subsisted on was 95% plus of their diet was whole plant foods and is whole plant foods. So it's not that they're vegan or vegetarian, because these are kind of binary words, but it's really about stacking the deck in your favor and eating more whole plant foods. And as I said at the start of my little number 2, is that the average person consumes 50% of our calories are ultra processed foods, whereas the longest living people on the planet are 95% whole foods. So point number 2 is really about moving the dial.
And like, if you're to compare like a modern Western diet, so typically it's 50% processed foods, you said, are ultra processed foods, 40% animal food, and typically it's less than 10% whole plant food. So what you're recommending to anyone listening is to try to eat as much whole plant foods as you can. Can you, like, if I'm a vegan, am I healthy? Like, what's the difference between a whole plant food diet and a vegan diet?
So our mantra, like, we've been eating a plant-based diet for 20 years, and we say to everyone, it's not about vegan, it's not about vegetarian. These words are binary, and they put as many people off. They put way more people off than they invite people in. It's really about eating more whole plant foods, and it takes intentionality in terms that it really does. I'm going to come back to that one. But just even to give you a quick definition, so I could eat a vegan diet and I could just eat chocolate bars, dark chocolate. I could eat vegan French fries, vegan donuts, vegan burgers, vegan sausages.
Could I eat vegan ice cream?
You could eat all those vegan stuff, and it'd be vegan, but I wouldn't be any healthier. So in terms of your health, your well-being, your long-term energy levels, every aspect of your health, whole foods is where we're talking about. And that's when you go into a supermarket, it's the grocery section. It's where you've got your fruit, your vegetables. You got in your health aisle and you find all your beans, your lentils. When they looked at the blue zones, the longest living people on the planet, 50% of their calories were coming from beans and legumes.
And would baked beans count?
Yeah, absolutely. Because these, believe it or not, Steve, actually 50% of their calories are fiber. They're the highest source of fiber in the diet. So beans are really, really important.
And there's many different varieties. They found out in the American Gut Project, which they kind of, it's still ongoing, but it was approximately 15,000 people in America to try to find out what was the single biggest thing you can do to improve your gut health. And they found out that it was food, food, food. And the second most important thing was diversity. So they found out that only 1 in 250 people studied actually got more than 30 different types of fruit and veg per week. So not only is it to try to reduce your meat intake, and I think this should be reframed, it's to try to eat more whole foods, but to try to focus on diversity, focus on variety, introduce different foods. Many of us are kind of caught up in a little kind of habitual program around food that on Monday night we have a shepherd's pie.
Yeah. So even on that point, so we talked about number 1, which was fiber. We talked about number 2, progress over perfection and focus on whole plant foods. Number 3 is about intentionality. So it really is. And as Stephen was implying there, he was saying that most of us have, very habitual food habits. We get them from our parents, we get them from our friends and family, and we tend to eat the same thing week on, week on. On a Monday night we make we make spaghetti bolognese. A Wednesday night we have a chicken curry. Friday night we have pizza, and Saturday night we get takeaway. Woo! And we rinse and repeat this every week. So what I'm talking about is we are the product of our current environment, and our current food culture is not really set up for us to be healthy. So to eat more whole foods and to reduce your meat consumption, it takes intentionality. So it takes you kind of going, okay, if I'm going to change this, those happy pear lads, I'm into it. I want to give it a shot. So if you want to change, it's about being intentional. Actually, kind of sitting down and working out a meal plan for the week, working out a shopping list.
Where would I find recipes?
Yeah, we've got over 50 million views on our YouTube videos. A lot of them have, millions of views, and lots of them are 5-minute dinners. We did a series with Jamie Oliver. It was back when we were part of his Food Tube, where we did a whole series on 5-minute dinners. And these have millions of views. They literally take 5 minutes to make. They'll cost you less than €5, dollars, pounds to get the ingredients. And they'll typically feed 4 people. So
and a real question I'm sure many people are asking is, are they not really expensive? Like, to eat healthy is really expensive. Like, I have to buy goji berries and I have to buy like plums and things
and I
like
have to buy a juicer and a smoothie maker. And no, really, eating whole plant foods, what we're talking about, it's cheap. It's very affordable. It's pretty much peasant food. It really, really is. Like, you never go to the supermarket and go, oh, Stephen, those lentils, you'll never guess how expensive they were. No. You'll typically find that the expensive things in the supermarket is your meat, it's your fish, it's your cheese, it's your wine.
It's your processed food.
So it's really about like focusing on kind of, the grocery section, as in the fruit and vegetable aisle, the produce section.
And often many of these are on specials. And the more you can learn how to cook, the more you can see, oh my God, squash. There's 2 kilos of squash for £2, €2, $2. And you can avail of these discounts, which means that it's easier in your pocket, it's easier on your health. And if you looked at research from the University of Oxford in 2018, they tried to find out what was the single biggest thing us as individuals could do to improve our relationship with climate change, or try to improve climate change. And it wasn't not traveling, it wasn't having an electric car. They found it was to eat more plant-based food. So not only will eating more whole food, plant-based diet be better for your health, it'll also be so much better for the environment.
Yeah. So okay, I've got 2 more points which will hopefully fit in. Number 1 is that reducing your meat consumption will dramatically improve your own health. We've got a number of courses. We've got an app, and we have a lot of courses on this where we partner with cardiologists, that's a heart doctor, a gastroenterologist, which is a gut doctor, a urologist, a penis doctor, a gynecologist, a women's health doctor.
We were just filming it there. He actually wrote the book, the penis book.
And these courses are really, they're with leading experts in their field, medical experts. And we've had nearly 100,000 people through our courses and on our app. And they all validate the simple things of eating more whole foods, prioritizing your sleep, and basic simple things that you can do to dramatically improve your health. Because nowadays, disease is more and more common, and what we put in our mouth on a daily basis has a massive impact on it.
Okay, I'm going to finish with one really important point, and that's around community. So we're all a product of our environment, and we're all a product of the people we spend most amount of time with. And as Dave mentioned earlier, typically our food habits, we get them from our parents and we get them from our friends. There's research saying that health is highly contagious. If you're friends with someone that's overweight, you're much more, even 48% more likely to be overweight too. If you're friends with someone who's healthier, you're much more likely to be healthier. So what I'm saying is that we're a product of our environment, and it's not saying that you shouldn't have any unhealthy friends. It's saying maybe even just have one friend that's healthy, or one friend that's vegetarian, or one friend that eats whole food, plant-based, because it's going to make it much easier for you to support it.
And even just to riff off this, what they say is like, willpower will get you so far. You can, yes, I'm going to eat more whole foods.
Grit it out.
Those happy pear lads, I totally agree, but I'm going to eat more veg. Yes. The most sustainable thing that you can do is to get a friend or a family member to join you, because when you have support, we're much more likely to go further. They say, if you want to do something alone, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So it really is about, if you can get a loved one, that's a brother, a sister, a husband, a wife, a colleague, anyone that's a close person within your family to join you on this adventure, you're much more likely to make it sustainable. And even Dan Buettner, who was the founder of the Blue Zones, he said one of the healthiest things that you can do is to make friends with a vegan, because they're
or even someone that's healthy.
Someone that prioritizes health. So
so in terms of just to wrap it up, in terms of environmental design, simple things like having friends that are healthy, having friends, being part of a running club, a walking club, a swimming club, it's much more likely to encourage you to move. Having a friend who eats more vegetables, spending time around people who eat more vegetables and know how to cook. These are simple things that might sound like that's really obvious, but the more you can do this, the more your environment supports you to make the healthy choice. Even simple things like, rather than having junk food on the counter, have a fruit bowl on the counter. Rather than having, when you open the fridge, your produce is often kind of put in the little box down the bottom of the fridge. Put your junk food in it, hide it away, put the healthy stuff right in front, so you're much more likely to grab it. It's little things around your environment that you can do that will massively change your chances of eating healthier food.
Brilliant. I love it. So really, I guess we've hit you with so much information here.
And we're really excited, excuse us. We have 3 minutes left. So
yeah, you can see we're very interested. So maybe if there's any questions, Sarah, feel free to ask them. Emma, feel free to ask them. We're more than happy to answer them. But maybe just to kick it off, Steve, I'm going to go, okay, so if I'm interested in this, where's a good place to start? Like, what would you recommend is an easy, starting point for me? If I'm new to this and I'm kind of going, well, do I start with breakfast? Do I start with lunch? Do I need fancy equipment, or what would
I think so. You don't need any fancy equipment, and it's baby steps. So don't try to bite it all off in one go. Make baby steps. Even start with just having porridge or having some sort of a breakfast that's plant-based, and try to bring in different fruits and different kind of, top it with seeds, top it with some cacao nibs, some dry fruit. Just try to bring more variety. If you are someone that does cook curries, and it's a chicken curry or it's something, just add in some chickpeas, some butter beans, some black beans. Just it's trying to crowd more of the less healthier options out and including more of the healthier options.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Great one, Steve. Okay, I would say something which I would definitely think of. Oh, I had a great point there.
Is it gone?
Yeah, I think it just disappeared. It was fantastic. It was amazing. It will come back to me. But yeah, I really think it's progress over perfection, and it's just starting with where you're at. And as Stephen said, it might be starting with breakfast. It might be starting with lunch. We've loads of dinners, but I really do think we've supported, I said more than 100,000 people through our courses. Really, you know what to do. Most people know what to do. You consistently know what to do. It's about just applying it. And that's why I really believe it takes intentionality and actual focus in coming up with a meal plan, your shopping list for the week, and coming up with the support structures. And that's why, I guess if you are looking for more, we've got loads of free recipes on YouTube, on our website as well. And we've got an app, which we've got memberships in that, which really are about supporting people on this journey.
Yeah, because ultimately it's support. So anyone listening who's a colleague or works together or as friends, the more you can support each other to help each other to reduce your meat consumption and to increase your whole food, plant-based consumption, you'll be better. You'll be healthier.
Beautiful. So yeah, thanks Emil for joining us today, and we wish you the absolute best.
Well, before you go, and that's fantastic, thank you so much. We've got so many people wanting questions and to get your opinions on various things. So can I just ask a couple, if that's all right? We haven't got much time, gentlemen, so if you keep your answers brief, that'd be wonderful. This is a great question. How do you curb your sugar cravings? And you obviously both of you a picture of health, and you eat fantastically, but what are your treats? You must have a weakness, and there must be some point in the day where you want to eat something that's a bit naughty, and what do you do?
We all do, and I think it's important to celebrate life. It's important to have that little bit of cake occasionally. That's the problem, is that we make it every single day, whereas it's really a treat. It's a high point. So I think it's to try to get your, sugar. We're all naturally predisposed to crave sugar. So to try to get it from fruit, to try to get it from dried fruit, foods that naturally have fiber in it. And then when you do have your cake, enjoy it.
And I would say 3 top tips for sugar cravings is number 1, sleep. If you get more sleep, you're much less likely to have cravings because your hormone, your ghrelin will be suppressed. So sleep is number 1, which you probably didn't expect. Number 2, drink water when you get a craving. Number 3, when you do get a craving, it typically lasts about 10 minutes. So literally, if you can say, I'm going to have it in 10 minutes and have a drink of water, that can often help. And number 4, I think it's down to environmental design. If you can design your house where the junk is, store your junk in the supermarket or in the neighborhood store. That's a better place to store your food. So that then you have to, when you do want to, you actually have to go to the store.
It's better for your pocket as well, isn't it? Lots of people are actually telling us about how they're trying to reduce their meat consumption. Meat-free Monday seems to be very popular. Someone's saying that they don't cook meat at home, but they'd have it as a treat when they go out to a restaurant. And then somebody asking, if they wanted to to become a vegetarian, how do you start? Because it's quite daunting, isn't it, as a journey?
Yeah,
a vegan, not even vegetarian, a vegan.
Yeah, I think it's to try to base as much of your diet around whole foods as possible. And that's to a variety. And as I mentioned from the American Gut Project, it's about focusing on diversity, trying to get over 30 different types of fruit and veg per week.
And I think starting points are, as we said, tons of recipes on YouTube. We've loads in their 5-minute dinners. They're cheap, they're affordable. If you're looking for more, we've got our app where we're supporting people and hold their hand. And it's, as I said, try to get support, a family member, a friend, a spouse, a loved one, a colleague, anyone that will do it with you are much more likely to sustain it long into the future.
Okay, gentlemen, we'll leave it there. Stephen, David, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, the guys from the Happy Pair. And of course, I'm sure many of our attendants will be in touch with you about some great recipes for veganism as well. Take care. See you later. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Emma. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.